While it probably goes without saying that all sociologists are interested in studying how and why people behave in particular ways, this doesn't mean they choose to study this behaviour in exactly the same way. Just as some natural scientists study the world in terms of its chemical, physical or biological properties, different sociologists approach the study of society in different ways. And two such broad approaches we're going to outline here are those of macro and micro sociology. Macro sociology, as the name suggests, focuses on the bigger picture in the sense that it chooses to look at human relationships from the widest possible angle. In some ways, this type of perspective is a bit like looking at our society from a position high up in the sky. From this vantage point, you get a very good idea about the broad sweep of society. The buildings, offices, parks, lakes and forests, as well as the general infrastructure, roads, railways and airports, by which they are connected. By looking at a society in this way, from high above, looking down as it were, we get a sense of its general scope and structure. We see, for example, how things are related to each other on a grand scale, how a capital city, such as London for example, is at the centre of a vast and complicated network of road, rail and air routes. And these connections aren't just with other cities or towns in our society. They extend, in contemporary societies, to cities and towns in other societies. For sociologists, the bigger picture is represented by observing the behaviour of very large groups of people, such as family or education systems. And just as the physical environment constrains individual behaviour, gravity, for example, is a force that prevents us just flapping our arms and flying off into the wide blue yonder, so our participation in very large groups places certain constraints on our behaviour. Just as we can't fly because of the physical force of gravity, so society, in the shape of massive institutions, is a social force that bears down upon each of us, limiting and expanding our behavioural choices, pushing and pulling us in a wide variety of different ways. For macro-sociology, explanations of individual behaviour are found in the study of its social causes, and these are found in the vast, complex relationships we form as part of a much larger and more powerful force, that of society. Explaining human behaviour, therefore, involves studying relationships between the different institutions, family, education, work, government and the like, that taken together make up the macro structure of any society. This follows because, from this perspective, people are effectively the prisoners of wider social forces that are beyond their individual control, examples of which might include how being born into a particular type of family affects our choices and chances in life, or how going to the right or wrong type of school goes a long way to determine the type of job we do, the people we meet, and the money we make in our adult lives. In this respect, therefore, if individual behaviour is the result of the way social institutions connect and relate to one another, it makes sense to study institutional behaviour as a way of explaining individual behaviour. In other words, we have to study the causes of individual behaviour, the social forces that bear down on each and every one of us. And this in turn helps to explain why the study of individuals, in terms of their hopes, fears, motivations, meanings and so forth, is, from this perspective, a not very productive or sociologically fruitful exercise.